Emergency, emergency, there's been a Canon emergency. Stay away from the TARDIS wiki page for the 13th Doctor. Some hooligans have defaced it. And now I can't remember which parts are true and which parts aren't. Right here it clearly states that the Doctor has 6 adopted children, and looks like this now, which I find scary and intriguing. Tell me if this rings a bell. After being separated from her Yaz during her post-cuddling trauma, the Doctor was assisted in her recovery by Grey and Dylan O'Brien, Ryan Custard Creams or something, and her girlfriend. Following a battle with Teeth Man, which resulted in the Boktor's death, the Doctor accidentally brought my mum, Tease Nan, and Yaz with her in her search for the lesbian pride flag. This incarnation of the Doctor believed in hope and practiced compassion, providing help to anyone who asked. Except Mandy Jill when she asked for a kiss. See now, that does sound about right. Yeah, that rings a bell. Regardless, stay on your guard for these no-good, very bad hooligans. The Doctor Who wiki is my temple, and I will not have it defaced. Anyway, more shit. So, our time-travelling hero refers to themselves as the Doctor. But what are they a doctor of? You know, specifically. Well, Moffat will try and tell you it's a metaphorical promise, and that my local GP stole the title from him.
The word for healer throughout the universe. We get that word from you, you know.
At some point, the Doctor clearly felt insecure about his title and went to academia to get those qualifications for real. In the Armageddon Factor, he does actually have a doctorate of some kind.
Yes, I'm really a medical doctor.
Yes, I think I was once. I think I took a degree once in Glasgow.
Of course, this was in the year 1888, and apparently he graduated in the wrong century, but this won't stop future Doctors from claiming to be medical professionals. The first Doctor, for instance, cannot decide whether he is a medical professional and says 2 different accounts in 2 different stories. But then again, so does 2. Get around to the Crotons, and he does not feel comfortable giving out medical diagnoses. The 4th and 5th Doctors also frequently lie about this fact. This isn't good.
All right, he's quite unconscious.
I don't trust this man near my vital organs. Quackery is a real term for impersonating a doctor and can carry up to a 10-year prison sentence.
It's the Doctor.
Who?
Where in the galaxy is Sanusi?
Show us your tits and I'll tell you.
No, it's okay, he's a medical professional. The 13th Doctor also claims to have a doctorate from the University of Gallifrey, which is either made up or studied at some point before Spyfall Part 2. Throw your mind back and there's a ton of examples where the Doctor can professionally diagnose someone on a medical level.
Are you a doctor?
I have my moments.
But that becomes a little bit unclear because apparently the sonic screwdriver can do the exact same thing.
Massive head trauma, mostly to the left side. Partial collapse of the chest cavity, mostly to the right.
Whereas the Giga Chad Doctors, namely 3, 8 and 9, claim to be a doctor of practically everything.
One of them is calling himself a doctor.
Of medicine?
He says of everything.
I'm the Doctor. A doctor of medicine. Well, medicine, science, engineering, candy floss.
You are a medical doctor, aren't you? You haven't just got a degree in cheese making or something?
No. Well, yes, both actually. I mean...
Lego, philosophy, music, problems, people, hope. Mostly hope.
Oh, I majored in that in 2nd year. Hope studies. Fucking liberal arts. As we know well, the Doctor lies. But should the Doctor be lying about medical qualifications? When you're on a crashing plane and someone says, "Is there a doctor in the house?" It's actually not a good thing to lie about that. That's the plot of Midnight.
I don't believe that man's ever been to medical school.
The Doctor can live up to the Hippocratic Oath, but half the time, he doesn't know any medical knowledge at all, and probably should not be prescribing medication. I mean, 19th century, were we still using leeches? A handful of really sad, tragic cases like me may remember the Red Nose Comedy Relief Special, where Mandy Jill and Jodie Whittaker portrayed 2 anonymous doctors.
They're clapping for the carers. But yeah, Bake Off is about to start. We better get a move on.
This segment, called 2020 the Movie, is treated as a canonical story on the wiki. Awesome, you know my feelings about that, but it's a rocky road. Accepting this as true also means you have to accept the rest of it, and the rest of it has a sentient COVID-19 played by Michael Sheen. We have to accept that this universe's Bill Gates is the spitting image of YouTuber KSI, and that the Whoniverse's equivalent of Gary Barlow looks just like Nardole. Interesting. Also incredibly unlikely. Also, of course, if Doctor Who and Holby, or Casualty or whatever the fuck, take place in the same world, COVID-19 exists in Doctor Who. There's no disputing it. COVID-19 ravaged the world in 2020, and none of our main cast spoke about it? Psychopaths. Yeah, let's just throw the last vestiges of humanity into a worldwide natural disaster. And I'm sorry, if all comic relief events are now on the table, the canonical floodgates are open wide. Such as the 11th Doctor being threatened with sexual harassment from Claudia Winkleman.
Gets into the spirit of nose, they quite like the hundreds of thousands. Stand over there, she will touch you.
All right, okay. Listen, Winklewoman.
Yes.
I won't be sniffed.
Oh, over there. Okay, just follow him, just follow him. We sent those lower rogues to the wanted to say thank you in person.
No.
Then there's also the time the Doctor crash-landed and called the midwife and averted the creation of Jedward.
I am here to tell you that in precisely 7 minutes and 12.06 seconds, you will give birth to twins. You will call them Jonathan and Edward. Combined, they will form a being scarier than a weeping angel, a creation more terrifying than a Cyberman, and a monstrosity more vocally annoying than a Dalek. It is imperative they are kept apart, because otherwise they will become
The hybrid.
Jedward.
Who could forget that hilarious segment where the audience start deleting the 11th Doctor's clothes?
It's gone too far.
Can you help me?
Guys, just leave Matt Smith alone for 5 seconds.
I just say he's not a real doctor, so if he tries to take your temperature later on using just his finger, don't let him. That's not a sonic screwdriver.
Oh, yes, Evangelina. Since when did you become a nun? You know, I will never forget 1934, you saucy minx.
Take me back to 1934.
Jesus, what is it about the 11th Doctor that gives off sexually harass me on national television vibes? Imagine if they did that for 13. Or 3. Painfully awkward. Doctor Who at Comic Relief, it's diminishing returns. Find me one person who doesn't consider Time Crash canon, and I'll show them the 12th Doctor talking to Percy Longbottoms, talking about Pudsey the Bear being an intergalactic terror threat.
Thank you very much for your call. Have a good life.
Right, I'm done. Next fact, please. The Doctor can literally make things appear out of thin air. Remember all those years ago when I first told you the Doctor could fly if he really put his mind to it? The 3rd Doctor can do more than that. He's a walking, talking magician. Sometimes when the plot really needs the Doctor to have something for a throwaway line or a get-out-of-jail-free card, he can pull it out of his enormous Harry Potter pockets.
How did that fit in there?
They're bigger on the inside.
For all intents and purposes, the Doctor is practically invincible, in a very don't worry about it, don't think about it kind of way.
Where did you get that from?
My pocket.
How do you keep a glass of water in your pocket?
Skills.
But what if I told you it's even sillier than that? Transmigration was the skill of defying the laws of pure science and being able to pull objects out of thin air, as witnessed in Ambassadors of Death. Right. Okay. According to the first book of Interference, transmigration was a practiced art by students at Time Lord Academy. Being able to conjure up a bouquet of flowers, or maybe a gun, or really whatever the fuck, went against the violations of their teachers. It misused the Rassilon imprimatur, and was highly dangerous as it could permanently warp their biodata. But I guess it doesn't stop the Doctor using it for cheap tricks. Yes, it's a little bit extra to have such a contrived lore explanation for Pertwee doing a magic trick in the 70s one time. But Lawrence Miles is very, very interested in the Doctor being able to apparate things at will. In Alien Bodies, the Doctor's pockets are a paradox in of their own right, and it's total chance as to whether or not there will be a sonic screwdriver in his pockets. In one chapter, he pulls out his Mark I sonic screwdriver, which got destroyed like centuries ago. But just before you start thinking, hang on, that's definitely a cheat, he tries the same trick later and finds that there's nothing in his pockets. But wait, hang on, if the Doctor always has a chance of finding a sonic screwdriver in his pocket, whether it be from the past or his future, why did he spend all of the wilderness years crying about his Sonic? No word of a lie, when it comes to Big Finish in the books, the Fifth Doctor is always still mourning his sonic screwdriver. It'll get a mention, even in a 7th Doctor or an 8th Doctor book sometimes. But his pockets tell a different story?
I feel as though you've just killed an old friend.
My dude in heaven, move on. This is like experiencing actual grief for losing a 5-in-1 keychain. Time Lord pockets is a tricky science. No one quite knows how they work. But I'm sure what's ever in them will help resolve the plot in a timely manner. In the book Playback, the 7th Doctor apparently carries around a saxophone and pulls it out of his pocket for when he gets bored. Sure, okay, the Doctor's magic anyway, so who cares? So who taught the Doctor how to be a magic man? Well, it was the Hermit. Kunpo, the guy from Planet of the Spiders, who left Gallifrey to go live as a Buddhist abbot on late 20th century Earth.
It's good fun for a hermit.
For some reason, it took the Doctor 7 years of exile to pop round and say hi to his former guru, who had also become a Time Lord renegade living in the 1970s. That's just rude. Whoops, he's dead. Supposedly, the first Doctor went to visit him near the end of his life. They transmigrated up a little picnic. But the Doctor's end of it comes out looking all mouldy and ugly because he's got rheumatism in his left hand.
Where did I get the cup of tea? Answer. I'm the Doctor. Just accept it.
Remember, if a strange man makes a meal appear out of thin air, do not eat it. And for our final fact today, I just want to show you some of my favourite Daleks. Is that okay? I love those little guys. There are so many goofy Dalek variants out there. The Nightmare Child, just a giant plasma baby, just hanging around in space trying to be a Dalek. You got human Daleks, and then of course there's Dalek humans, and Daleks controlled by humans. But then you get the ones that ride in submarines, and the ones that look like spiders. Some of them don't kill people at all and are just, astronomers, sitting in a big telescope all day. Here's something really goofy, but nobody knows what the Eternal Dalek does, including its creators. The yellow one's exact function is a total mystery, but it's probably something to do with the progenitor device and the continuation of the race. Marky Mark, you wrote the episode. All of the other members of the Paradigm have defined cool purposes, but the yellow one either got shortchanged or its special skill is horoscopes. Yeah. Now I'm a Pisces, so extermination. Gemini? Extermination. Cancer? Also extermination. It's not looking too good. The Eternal Dalek demonstrated a propensity for quoting prophecy. This big textbook tries to make sense of Dalek continuity. It tries its best anyway. It supposedly predicted the Battle of Trenzalore, but nobody listened. Honestly, our best guess beyond Doctor Who Adventures is that stage play, The Monsters Are Coming. In this, the Eternal claims it can calculate and lock time parameters, which to some people implies making Dalek victories into fixed points. Cool. I like this guy. Let him believe in his horoscopes. Then you've got the asymmetrical Daleks, who are rejects from the production line. They keep them around for some reason. Mean. London's Super Guardian Dalek. You might remember when Rassilon Productions covered Dalek Attack before. Here's a big beefy tank that rolled around Westminster. You got Marsh Daleks and Suicide Bomber Daleks and Proletariat Daleks, worker class? That implies a Dalek bourgeoisie. Hey, they've got a parliament. Listen up, motherfucker, let me tell you about the Clade. This is gonna sound like I made it up. The Clade are super evolved descendants of the Daleks who have come round full circle evolution-wise. You got your glassy boys. This one's just a purple slab. They're in the Lego movie. They conspire with Sauron and the Joker to take out Gotham.
British robots! Ask your nerd friends.
So that's where the Paradigm Daleks went. My favourite types are the ranks that are given roles like Flying Dalek and Executioner Dalek, Death Squad Dalek. And I'm like, is that not every Dalek? What makes these guys so special? Likewise, the Predator Dalek has a very redundant name, but was a giant structure whose only goal was to capture the War Doctor, place him inside of itself, and have the Doctor pilot it around, becoming the best Dalek to ever Dalek. Really silly plan. The Time War got a bit crazy up there. You guys like Ironsides? Well, the Daleks regurgitated their plan and tried it again in World War I. Here's a German proto-Dalek, just in case the subtext of the Daleks wasn't subtle enough. Then there's the one with the giant head. I love this dude. Everyone takes him so seriously.
Exterminate! Exterminate!
Unfortunately, Time Lord Victorious burned him up to a little crisp. Put in that clip of him being bashed around, it's funny. Then you got his brother, the Psyche Dalek. You can tell this guy's clever because he's a giant brain in a jar. And who among us could forget the Dalek Wasp? A little Dalek drone that would fly out and sting a person with its pincer, and then once it's done that, it has control over their brain? My brain's turning to mush, that's for sure. Why do they never use the Dalek Wasp anymore? You know, sometimes I think they're just overcomplicating a good thing. Go out and shout, have fun, party. Kill the impure and the unwashed and people who don't look like you. It's a good system and they're just making it messier than it has to be. My favorite Daleks are the... Are we doing this? Yeah, let's do it. Dalek Strategist, Dalek Khan, Dalek X from the book because he thinks he's the shit, and trust me, he ain't. I like that one from Remembrance that's all like, exterminate! I think the Funko Dalek is good, and if I got control, I would make it canonical. But the number one is this guy. This one's just for Sam. Thank you for watching. My editing software was gone for a moment there, but I'm back up and running. Thank you to Paradise Judge, Laughing Cynic, Cyclops 007, and the ever-lovely Tamara McAdam, and everyone else who drops a tip to help pay these horrendous Adobe fees.